I am Crystal Craven, and I am a singer, a songwriter, and a worship leader, and I am passionate about sharing what God inspires. And this is your weekly devotional. All right, well, today we are looking at Luke chapter 18, verses 15 through 17. And it says, "Now they were bringing even infants to him that he might touch them. And when the disciples saw it, they rebuked him. But Jesus called them to him, saying, 'Let the children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of God. Truly, I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child shall not enter it.'" Now, the first thing that we see in this section is that people were bringing their infants to Jesus. I mean, their children, but even their infants to Jesus. And this was a tradition of that time because people would bring their babies to be blessed by an esteemed rabbi. Now, Jesus wasn't claiming the title necessarily of rabbi, but people did call him that, and certainly he wasn't really following the manner of many rabbi of that day, but his authority in teaching and his love for the people did cause the people to esteem him highly. And it's actually really amazing that people were bringing their children to Jesus at such a young age. And what a beautiful example to parents today to also bring their children to Jesus starting at a young age. Now, when we look in this passage, there are two rebukes here, but there's only one rebuke that we should actually heed. Now, the first rebuke was done by the disciples, and it was directed at the parents bringing their children to Jesus. The disciples seemed to really just get too focused on the overall work of ministry that they were blinded to the specific purpose of it, which was the people. They ended up rebuking the very people whom Jesus wanted to minister to. Man, how often we might get so busy with aspects of ministry that we deem the most important that we miss ministering to the people whom Jesus wants to reach, and even possibly miss out on blessings that God desires to bestow. Now, the second rebuke was done by Jesus, directed at the disciples. Notice, though, that Jesus didn't start yelling a rebuke at them. He called them to himself and gently rebuked them and taught them through it. What a beautiful learning moment right there. Do you see it? Right in the midst of the crowd of people bringing their children, Jesus sees the disciples doing the wrong thing, and he ushers them over to himself to correct them in the moment. But here's the thing. What if the disciples wouldn't have been listening for Jesus' voice? They would have missed that rebuke and then continued doing the wrong thing. We must be listening throughout our day for the voice of God guiding and directing us, or we very well might negatively impact the lives of other people and misrepresent the heart of God. Now, Jesus made it very clear that he wanted the children to come to him, and he didn't want anyone to hinder them. This rings true of all his children, big and small, right? We should never be hindering anyone from coming to Jesus in any way. And yes, there may be instances such as, church events in which we have made a plan on how things will run. But if those plans ever hinder people from coming to Jesus, they're not only ineffective plans, but they're going to actively go against what Jesus has said here. Not only should we never block anyone from Jesus, but we should also be actively working to provide a way to him. Now, Jesus ended with saying this, "Truly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child shall not enter it." This is a really, really important truth here. We don't want to miss this. When we think about children, they are so quick to receive from Jesus. I mean, I work in children's ministry and I see this all the time. They're so quick to receive from Jesus, and they don't, try to bolster themselves as though they're like worthy of it. Like we saw the Pharisee in the parable from last week. And kids don't try to act like they don't need God's blessing, right? Children just simply come to him and receive what he gives. And that's the example Jesus is telling us as adults even to follow. I like the way that C. Marvin Pate put it when he said, "Not only did Jesus welcome these little human beings as members of the kingdom of God, he also extolled them as model citizens of the same because of their capacity to trust and love." So I'm going to leave you with this encouragement. As we seek to enable a way for others to come to Jesus, let's also be mindful of our own approach to ensure that we are receiving the kingdom of God like a child ourselves. For blogs, written devotionals, and originally written songs, visit crystalcravenmusic.com, and that is Crystal with a K and Craven with a C.